Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vaibhav Patel. I'm a registered migration agent and one of the principal migration agent at Aussizz Group. I welcome you to the Migration and Education Conclave 2022, the biggest conclave in Australia with more than 35 topics. First, let me thank you all for joining us today. This event is particularly relevant to the people who are planning and researching on various pathways to attain permanent residency in Australia, or those who are already in the process of obtaining it. All the conclave sessions are generally aimed to act as a board for a discussion where we would love to hear questions from you and from all of our participants, and we will try our best to answer these questions within the session. So I encourage all of you to put in the questions in the comment box as and when you have questions. And at the end of the session, we will have a Q&A and we will read out all the questions and try and answer all of them. If your questions have not been answered during the session, then don't worry. We will definitely make sure that we will touch base with you after the session and try and help you with your questions and give your answers. You can also visit our office across Australia and to receive a specific advice for your particular case. Before I move on to the topic, I would like to announce the giveaways for our participants. So I'll share the screen so you can also see the terms of the giveaway, which is, let me just share the giveaway first. So we have a really attractive giveaways for you. Please give a shout out about the session in the link and in the chat box by tagging Aussizz Group and Aussizz Conclave 2022 to win the exciting offers. Now, before we move on to the topic, we'll wait for a minute or so, and then because others are still joining, and then once we have everyone joined in, we'll start in a minute or two. And thank you all for joining the session. And I'll start the session in a minute. In the meantime, you can see the giveaways that we have, which is free 2 months PT online coaching, free CCL online coaching, free 485 visa consultation, 1 free PR consultation, and up to 50% scholarships on the courses, selected courses in selected institutions. So if you give a shout out and if you are selected, then you will be given all of this as an giveaway to you. So it's a winning prize. So I think it's been a minute or so. Let's start with the session. So today's topic is a global talent independent program, and I will be covering all the aspects of the visa application, including the requirement of the visa, how it works, what are the statistics relevant to this visa application, and all the relevant details for a global talent program. So without further delays, let's start the presentation. All right, so global talent visa is a special pathway that gives a fast track and prioritized PR pathways for highly talented people that can be within Australia or from outside Australia as well, from overseas posts. Australia is after the best and brightest global talent to work in 10 future focus sectors. And now we'll get into the eligibility criteria, which will also cover the 10 future sector focus sectors. Now, the criteria that we have is to qualify for a global talent, you must be prominent in one of the target sectors that is mentioned in the next slide, internationally recognized in your target sector. So you must be internationally recognized in what you're doing. Let's say if you are a fintech, a professional or a graduate from a PhD, then that's your target sector. Now you have an international recognition of your, let's say if you're working, then you must be awarded or you have a patents under your name, things like this. You have achievements, outstanding achievements in your field, which covers again awards from prominent awards from your employer. If you're working for a big organization, awards for completing certain projects. If you have been invited to work or present in international forums or platforms that talks about the target sector, and also that would be also a factor for an outstanding achievement. Asset to Australia. So you must be an asset. So your skills and your knowledge that you're bringing in must be so valuable that it will be an asset to an Australia. Still, you must be prominent at the moment as well in your target sector. And the third part is you must be able to attract a salary above fair work high income threshold, which is set from 1st of July. It's changed to 162,000, which used to be 158,500 before. Now, these are the target sectors. Uh, this is the, let's say target sectors would include resources, agri-food and agriculture technology, energy, health industries, which includes medtech as well, defense, advanced manufacturing and space, circular economy, digital technology, trans infrastructure and tourism, financial services and fintech, and education. So your area could be any of this target sector. If you're outside this target sector, then you might have to go for a global talent visa directly, if you meet the criteria for those ones. Now, I consider to be in two pathways, to make it simple to understand. Number one is a PhD graduate pathway. Graduates who have completed PhD in Australia or overseas within last 3 years, or going to complete the PhD in next 6 months. Those candidates can also apply, or professionals who are already working in the target sector and they're highly talented. They're working in a senior position. They have achieved a lot in that sector. Then the professionals can also apply for, even if they don't have a PhD degree. Now, what is the definition of highly talented person, or let's say, how do you prove that you have a talent? So, Australian government is looking for an individuals with international recognized records of exceptional and outstanding achievements. You must be prominent in your target sector that we already discussed. You be able to demonstrate that you would be an asset to Australia, that also we have discussed. Now, this is an add-on which is have no difficulty in obtaining employment in Australia or becoming established in the target sector. Either you'll be able to find a job, or you have patents under your name and you can probably start the business activity that I will cover in the next slides as well. You should be leader in your respective sector, or you're working in a senior position. Working at highly competitive international organization, that is also one of the factor that is considered when they consider you to be talented. So if you're working in a higher position in national or international company with a very good reputation in the target sector, then that employment is also considered to be a highly talented person. Completed a major international projects or research work and demonstrated the impact of these projects on a wider community in the target sector. Now, how to demonstrate international achievements? Let's say if you talk about technological ones, then technical achievements, awards, media articles under your name with your achievements, vendor certificates. Let's say a lot of IT graduates or technology people do a lot of certifications for their employment part, as well as to enhance their knowledge. And some of the certificates are very well reputed and they are recognized throughout the world, and some are very, very, very hard to pass through as well. And so, if you, depending on what sort of vendor certificates you have, that also carries a weight. Employment history, your resume, CV with the details of your achievements, your publications and everything. So your detailed CV, memberships in industrial associations, like let's say, for example, if you're an IT graduate, if you're part of an Australian Computer Society, that's a membership. And if there are international membership or international associations where you can take a membership as well, then those memberships also counts towards your achievements or towards your knowledge. Now, research. So people who are completing PhD, let's say academic appointments, honorary appointments, invitation to international conferences, journals published on, let's say, nationally or internationally reputed, um, uh, you know, platforms, articles, books, patents under your name, funding including grants from the government or grants from the universities for your projects, industry collaborations, and especially in industrial collaboration. Let's say if you have some patent or some development that you have made, which is exceptional, and the other industry people are coming forward to collaborate with you and work with your business, that's also an achievement. Business. So if you have, let's say, a lot of, I've seen a lot of uh, graduates, especially from PhD, end up starting their own business because they have a unique idea and they show an entrepreneurship as well. business turnover of that business that you have started, achievements of your business, financials, funding such as venture capital fund, seed funding, etc., that you've received. Because getting a venture capital fund is also a big job, and if your project is getting that, that is an indication that your project is very important or can make a big impact on people's life. Other things such as employment history with reputed organizations, academic qualifications, authorships, uh, media recognitions, excuse me for the spelling there, awards, statements and recommendations, letters from industry experts. Let's say if you are in fintech, for example, and if you know 10 other people who are very highly talented people and they're leading experts in the industry, and if they write a recommendation letter saying that, yes, I am aware about this person and he or she is highly talented in this area and they have achieved so and so or they've attained so and so achievements, that's also an part of your application that can form part of your application. Students with academic qualifications, transcript with high GPA, academic awards, research of high significance, research published in international forums, impact of those research in the industry, impact of the research in Australia's competitiveness, that how your research is going to help Australia's reputation internationally. Further details that you can provide is to prove that you're still prominent in your field, is you show your recent achievements. Students who have completed PhD within last 3 years are deemed prominent in the field if as long as they've completed the PhD within last 3 years and they're still in touch with the same industry. Assets to Australia, that was the first part of my slide as well, which you can show is evidence that you have created a product or technology advancement that is unique and cutting edge in future. Evidence that demonstrating that you have research uh, which is significant knowledge gaps, which fills significant knowledge gaps and will be benefit to industry, business, or academia in Australia, or evidence of your involvement in establishing a startup company. So these are the factors that you can demonstrate. So it doesn't have to be all of them. You can have any of them, or even if you don't have none of them, that's fine. But then reduces your chances that I will talk about in the future slides. But the more you can provide is better. So we generally recommend and encourage all our clients to provide as many documents as they can provide. Now, other things that you can include is employment contracts or offer of employment related to the area of achievement for your work in Australia. This may be an evidence by current and future employment opportunities from your employer, employment or recruitment agencies, universities, organizations involved in the area of your achievements. So in your target sector, basically. Uh, Evidence of self-employment or opportunities to establish a viable business within the area of your target sector. So if you have already established a new business or a startup, or you have a viable business plan that you can show off, or you provide a business plan, then that's also an evidence that you would be an asset or you can be an asset to Australia. Evidence of sponsorship, scholarships, grants, like if you were studying PhD and you got a scholarship from the university, you got a grant from a government, even if it is from an overseas government where you're originating from, that's also fine. Sponsorship from certain companies for your research, that can also be counted. Other payments intended to support you or your activities during your studies or your research. Uh, Evidence of academic qualifications in your area of achievements, such as research degree or a PhD degree. But if you're relying on a qualification only, you must have a PhD. And high income threshold. From 1st of July, as I mentioned, that you have to show that either you are already earning 162,000 or more, or you have an ability to earn this money, or you have a job offer, or you have an employment, you have researched about your possibility of your employment, your area where which you have selected has a general market rate is about 162,000 for your kind of skills, then those are the evidences that you can provide to show that you can meet the high income threshold. Now, the most important part is you must have a nominator. Now, the nominator must be an Australian citizen or a permanent resident or an Australian organization to endorse your achievements. The nominator must provide a statement to attest your achievements, as well as the Form 1000, which is part of the visa application and expression of interest. You must, and your nominator must be prominent in the same target sector. So if it is a company, the company providing the same services, or must be the company that is providing a nomination, must be in the same, must have a reputation in the same target sector as yours. Or the person, if it is an Australian citizen or PR, that person must have a national or international reputation in the same target sector as yours. So let's say a fintech guy cannot, fintech uh, Australian citizen or fintech company cannot actually endorse a medical or energy applicant, because their target sectors are different. They wouldn't really know much about each other's area of expertise. So that's why the requirement is that your nominator have this reputation in the same target sector as yours. Now, if it is an individual, they must have a strong record of achievements themselves as well to nominate you. Provide an evidence of their high caliber, like their projects, their position in a senior position in the target sector with a highly reputed company, etc. And if they have their achievements, like they have patents under their names, they have business under their name, and their business is doing well, or they have a startup idea that they are running, anything can be counted towards the nominator's achievement as long as it's significant. Now, criteria for a PhD graduates. So recently, either you completed a PhD recently within the last 3 years that I've also included before, or you are about to complete the PhD, which is expected to complete within 6 months from the day you lodge an UI. Now, the below source, the screenshot below is from the department's auto reply, which clearly answers the question that PhD graduates are eligible or not. Yes, they are eligible as long as you have completed your PhD and your records, or you can demonstrate your internationally recognized for your exceptional achievement. Like, let's say you have a research paper that is published and that was published on a very good platform, let's say international platform of that particular target sector, that carries a weight as well. So you don't have to have employment in that case. Yes, employment does help. Relevant PhD studies, for example, irrespective of graduation date, may demonstrate continued prominence in the priority sector. But PhD students must still demonstrate that you have an internationally recognized record of exceptional and outstanding achievements in your target sector. Right? Now, PhD qualifications from overseas are also accepted as long as they are equivalent to an Australian PhD. Now, what's the process? So the first process is you lodge an UI. So you first identify your nominator, make sure you meet the criteria. Then you have to lodge an UI. Now, if you don't have a nominator, there is an additional step that you can add on before you lodge an UI, which is like, let's say a fintech or a digitech guys can apply for nomination with Australian Computer Society. Same way, engineers can apply for a nomination with Engineers Australia, because Engineers Australia has a pathway for nominating people for, if they deem them qualifying for a global talent visa, then they will also nominate you for a global talent. So if you don't have a nominator for digitech and fintech and engineering, then yes, you have an option that you can choose to go for uh, the nomination with the other companies like ACS or Engineers Australia. Now, once you have the nomination or nominator ready, then you go ahead and lodge your expression of interest with global through the global talent contact form. Then you have to wait, and then you receive an unique identifier and the file number. Using that, you can apply for an 858 visa. Now, the processing times. Generally, the processing time for an EOI ranges between 6 to 12 months and sometimes even less. Now, if you see within days, what are the applications that are getting the outcome? So within 30 days, we have seen that 2,391 applications have been finalized. 31 to 90 days, it's 1,161. 91 to 180 days, 1,230. 181 to 270 days, 4,397. And some cases which has taken more than a year or almost a year, which is 677. Now, generally 858 visa, then the next step after EOI, let's say this is for an invitation. Once you receive an invite, you lodge an 858 visa. Generally, it's up to 6 to 8 months. However, we have seen most of the cases gets finalized in 1 to 3 months or even less. And The approval rate for 1858 after the invitation, which is 99.5%. We have not seen many refusals after you got an invitation. So if you get an invitation, pretty much it indicates that you're likely to get through to the visa application stage as well. Now let's talk about some statistics, the last available statistics. So in January 2022, the number of visa grant by the target sectors are as of follow for this last financial year. So food and agriculture technology, there were 282. Energy, that's very low, 21. So if you are from energy sector, I would highly recommend you to, go ahead with this option, because in energy sector, the department does not have many applications. That means that there is higher possibility that you get faster outcomes as well. Defense, advanced manufacturing and space, 253. Digitech, which is the highest one, which is 1,515. Circular economy, 48. Again, that is also an area where you can focus. If you are from that area, you can easily try in this area because the number of applicants are very low in that area. Financial services and fintech, 929. Health industries, 1104. Infrastructure and tourism is 119. Resources is 254. Education is 111. So these are the number of visa grants. Now let's see what's the backlog look like, because there is a huge backlog and we have seen a lot of our clients are also waiting for sometimes up to a year or more, because right now the department is processing applications from March, lodged in March 2021 EOIs. That does not mean that the people have not got an outcome who lodged in after March 2021. There are cases where people have also got an invitation in 1 month or 2 months time even, but this is in for, if you're, I will talk about it in the next slide, where you'll realize that why there is a longer period for some time, some people or some applicants, and some applicants gets faster outcome. Now, agriculture, food and technology, agriculture technology, 569 UIs awaiting for a decision as of December 2021. So obviously in the last 6 months, they would have increased more as well. Energy, 871. Defense, advanced manufacturing and space, 420. Again, Digitech looks like that they have the most applications, 1,916. Education, 755. Circular economy, 73. Um, Financial services and fintech, 564. Health industries, 1,221. Infrastructure and tourism, 284. Resources, 279. And education, 755. Now, this is the slide I'm talking about, that how does it impact your processing time, your outcome, what are the things that affects it. So let's say I would divide the cases into 2 or 3 sections. One is likely to be approved very easily, like very good case, easy, and good prospects to get an approval. Mid-level professionals, which has a possibility of getting an approval, but not too sure as well, because they sit in the middle somewhere between not likely to be approved and likely to be approved. And the other cases are completely unlikely to be approved, which we don't recommend if you fall on that criteria. Now, how do we decide which is likely to be approved and which is not likely to be approved? So candidates who hold patents, we have noticed that they get faster outcomes comparatively. Presented in national and international conferences, have international publications and journal, extensive experience in senior leadership role in multinational companies. And also I would like to add one more, your salary bracket. Your salary bracket, let's say I've seen candidates with $300,000, $400,000 salary. They can easily get an outcome faster than other candidates, and they are also likely to be approved faster, because when they're at that level and they're receiving that kind of salary, that means they're already having an extensive experience in senior leadership role in a multinational company. That means they've also got some sort of international presence, worked on international projects. So that's why they're likely to be approved. And this kind of cases, the ones that falls under likely to be approved, they are the one who generally see an outcome faster in less than 30 days, right? Or in the first couple of sections, which is 30 to 90 days or so. So um, if you are in those area, you can be confident, very easy to go through. Mid-level professionals may or may not be approved. So which is, you don't have a patent, but you have worked in many international projects. Now, you have a good salary as well, which is above 162,000. then yes, you still have a chances. You can't say you don't have a chances. You have worked in an international projects, but you never presented in an international platforms, like never been invited in the conferences or anything like this. But you've been awarded by your employer as well, like you've received an good employee award or maybe a contribution award or something. Yes, your possibility of getting an approval is still there, but you cannot say that you fall in the highly approval zone. And the last category is unlikely to be approved. The candidates who pretty much have very less chances of going through, which is limited work experience. If you're working for a small scale organization, you don't really have a long-term work experience in your area as well. Those are the candidates which are not likely to be approved, even though your salary might be above 162,000. But because you don't have an extensive experience, you don't hold a senior position, you know, and you don't really have a lot of achievements in your belt right now, then probably it's not a good idea to apply for the global talent visa. Um, Now that's about the presentation. Now you can ask me questions as well. Now the summary. So just to summarize the Global Talent Independent Program, it gives you a fast track PR pathway. It's a great opportunity for the people who are uh, highly skilled. The allocation from 2000 last financial year and in the current financial year, it has gone down by 50% almost, which was 15,000. Now it's 8,488. And now I'm leaving the floor open for questions. So I'm happy to take the questions now. Let's see who has asked questions. So the first one we have seen here is question from uh, Tharuka Jempati. Can someone who has just submitted a PhD thesis, agri-food, hold international publications, research grants, but not conferred yet thesis under examination and make a complete EOI with highly reputed nominator get an invitation before the PhD is conferred? Yes, Tharuka. So, as I mentioned in my presentations, that candidates with um, PhD, either they have completed or when you're about to complete within next 6 months. And obviously generally the PhD thesis marking takes maximum up to 6 months. So let's say the people who have launched their thesis already, they are likely to get their completion letter in next 6 months. And but yes, you cannot say that your application will be processed in 6 months time. It really depends on your research. It depends on your impact of your research. Is that research a very good research that is going to make an impact not only on your in the industry, but also in Australia's reputation, also in people's life, or if you're, because you're in agriculture, let's say it might really help the industry or farmers in their in the farming techniques that they're using, then yes, definitely your chances of going through is very high. Now, but yes, you can probably, and in case, let's say, if you've lodged an EOI, and after lodging an EOI, you 3 months later or 4 months later, you're still waiting for an outcome, and then you realize that yes, you still uh, need to, you know, complete. You have completed your PhD, and while you're waiting for an outcome, then what we can do is we can always email the department saying that, hey, there's an update in my end. I When I applied for an expression of interest, I didn't really have the PhD completed. I had submitted my thesis for marking. Now I have completed my thesis, and here is and my thesis has been marked, and I've been awarded a PhD qualification. Here is my result and my completion letter and everything. You can also update the department this way. And if if you're confident that your research is very impactful, then definitely you should consider going for EOI now as well. The next question is from KJ. I did Bachelor's of Business with two major, one in international business and second in information systems analytics. Can I get a positive skills assessment? KJ, this is the platform for a global talent. However, I'll still answer your question. Yes, if your degree is in major in ICT, that means if it is a bachelor degree, at least 33% or more content must be in ICT content. then yes, you can apply for a skills assessment as a systems analyst. The best way to do it is apply for something called 485 skills assessment with ACS before you go further, because it will tell you in a month's time whether your degree will meet the minimum criteria for a qualification to be assessed as a systems analyst. Now, if you have any questions regarding the Global Talent Program, please feel free to ask them. So next question is from Win Ni Fong. Can we make a request for priority processing for GTI? Under what situations and how? Yes, you can request for a priority um, for the GTI. Now, how it works is you have to show that your your case is different, and you should be able to demonstrate that your profile is highly impactful in terms of the knowledge in the area. So definitely, yes, you can request for a priority. Generally, we do request for a priority depending on the situation of our client. Now, I'll probably share the details from the department's auto reply, which clearly tells you about what scenarios that you can request for a priority. Um, so let me just grab that information first, and then I can tell you exactly what are the areas that they consider for a priority. Generally, so what department says is expression of interest are usually assessed in the order of the application that is received, but following may receive a priority, which is confirmed support from a global talent officer. If you have a support from a global talent officer, they will consider it. Hong Kong nationals and residents can receive a priority. Candidates of extremely high caliber can also receive a priority, excuse me. And UIs from candidates clearly outside programs parameters may receive early notifications as well, which is like that means if you have met something above and beyond the requirement, then also you can request for a priority. So these kind of candidates, yes, can request for a priority, and we have seen people getting a priority as well when we request for clients like this. The next question is from Vaibhav Pandey. So I am a self-employed and run a successful college in Navi Mumbai. How about 25 years of experience with PhD and also and principal of college? Do I have a chance? Also, can I bring a de facto partner, same sex? Yes, you can. Vaibhav, if you are in the education sector, now you also have to look into what sort of subsection of the education sector you fall in. But yes, if you are in the education sector, you have been running a successful college in overseas country, and you have 25 years, which is extensive experience. You have a PhD, and you might have also got a research papers published in the past. So yes, you can definitely apply request for an EOI. The best way I would recommend is that you also look into um, contacting the global talent officers when they are visiting your country. So from time to time, global talent officers do visit different countries, participate in the seminars and everything. And if you see that, yes, we can lodge an EOI, but at the same time, you can contact them as well when you receive when you have the seminars there. This way, you can connect with them and probably also ask them that, okay, I've lodged my EOI, and we have done, many of our clients have done this, and that they have requested the case officer in the seminars or events that they meet in, saying that I've already lodged my expression. Can you give me the recommendation? And here is my profile. And if they look into it, and then if they find it suitable, then they would really put it forward. And also, Vaibhav, you want to bring a de facto partner? Yes, you can, as long as you guys are living together. You can show that you are in a de facto partner, and your relationship is recognized throughout your network. no problems. You can also bring a de facto partner. Doesn't matter if it is the same sex or opposite sex. I have a hospitality college and also an offer for undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Yes, that's completely fine. So that means you, and I'm assuming that you would have also participated in designing these courses. So you can probably try for tourism industry because that forms a part of the tourism, and maybe depending on the situation, depending on your overall situation, you might also fall under education. So sometimes we have also seen that people overlap, like person working in the banking sector and having an IT skills that overlaps with each other. So that person can also choose a fintech, and that person can also choose digitech because that person has knowledge of IT as well as financial technology too. So then it becomes your completely your choice where you think your you know whether your profile is more relevant to fintech or your profile is more relevant to um, the let's say digitech. So yes, you can definitely look into those areas, and sometimes, as I said, does overlap. So depending on the situation, this we have come across cases like this as well where they do overlap. Any further questions, guys? Please feel free to put it in. We are about to close the session in short time. So if you do have a question, please feel free to put it in now so that we can address your questions. Else, we will move into the next part of our presentation. Um, I'll wait for a few seconds before you do it. In the meantime, now again, I would like to thank you all for joining us today for our session. And I hope that this information is helpful, especially the statistics. It has been actually obtained through a freedom of information. That means someone had to actually lodge an FOI with the Department of Home Affairs, get an statistics from them, and then put it in this to our presentation. So uh, I hope this information is helpful for you, and it will probably help you understand the program as well as how you can proceed further. At least it will help you in doing a preliminary assessment whether you do think that you qualify or you fit into this criteria. Then yes, definitely you can go ahead and uh, you know contact us as well if you need assistance from our end. And if you choose to do it yourself, we wish you good luck with that as well. uh, just to announce again that we have another session coming up as well. And if you do want to watch this video, you can watch this video on our YouTube channel as well later on. And once again, we do have giveaways, which we spoke earlier as well. So please don't forget to shout out for us on social media and to get receive or enter into a competition to win the exciting giveaways. So we thank you for joining us today, and happy weekend, and enjoy and take care and stay safe. Thank you.